Yo, I am a big believer in these anti-bullying measures that are in place at schools. I do not believe that any kid should be afraid to go to school because of bullying or the prospect of being bullied. I am 100% a supporter of whatever schools have to do to stop bullying. I mean, it's just not right. But I have to say that I grew up at a time, I'm probably older than a lot of you watching these videos. But back when I grew up and went to school, there were no measures like that in place. And bullying happened all the time, all the time. And you just had to kind of, I mean, it was bad because you either had to deal with it or you had to be one of those kids who, had to go to school in fear every single day. It was terrible. And I remember one time I was having a problem, but the attitudes were different back then. I mean, you didn't have, like I said, you didn't have any of this anti-bullying stuff. I mean, every kid was on their own basically, and they just had to deal with it in whatever way they could. I remember one time I had a problem with a kid in school who was, I guess technically you could call him a bully. He was like a tough guy in school. He had a problem with me. One night I was home alone because my parents were out. I was babysitting my sister. And he came around to my house. Somehow he found out where I live. He came around to my house at night with a gang of his friends. And he was calling me out on the front lawn to have a fight right there. And I said, I can't do it right now. My dog was going crazy. I had this crazy dog that was growling and jumping up. We had this screen door. I said, I can't do it right now. I'm here, I'm watching my sister, there's nobody home. So eventually they went away that night. And then the next day I saw my father. My father was, we had some friends over, my parents had some friends over. They were sitting around the kitchen table. And I told him the story about this gang coming over last night, calling me out. And my father said, go fight him. That's what he said, go fight him. He didn't say, hey, let's go, we're gonna go talk to the school or talk to the teacher. And I'm not saying this to brag, I'm just saying it's like, it was a different time. So I called my friend, and I knew these kids were up at the schoolyard. And I called my friend just to accompany me up there, not to help in any way. And I went up there. Kid was there with a bunch of his friends or a bunch of other kids. And that's it. We just went at it and we fought. And it was like, I guess it was kind of a stalemate. But after that, it diffused the whole situation. So after that, I wouldn't say we were friends after that. We weren't friends, but that was the end of the story. So all I'm saying is it was different back then, man. It was more like the jungle environment. You had to deal with your issues. And again, I'm 100% in favor of any anti-bullying measures that schools nowadays put in place, because I feel it's not right if a kid has to go to school in fear and trembling and scared. That is a violation of that kid's rights. That is wrong, and that should never happen. But by the same token, man, the world is a rough place. And when I hear people talking about, this is hard and there's too much volatility, I gotta wait until things are nice. I mean, come on, man. Seriously? toughen yourself up. It's just that, life is not all butterflies and rainbows, all right? And this business that we're in, it's really not that hard. You make it hard on yourself when you when you shrink down like that, and what kind of expectation is it that you need to know you can't do anything? You are frozen in your tracks until some kind of, perfect environment emerges, which only you can see. Nobody else, okay? Only you can see it. You're going to wait around until some perfect environment. I told this story a bunch of times. When I used to do my live Forex trading course, that was like a 1 week long course, 5 days, 8 hours a day, live trading, a little theory in the beginning, the first couple of days, and then we do live trading. There was a day in that course, and actually a couple of days, where I, after explaining what my approach was, and showing people how, I went about doing it, and it was like short-term Forex trading, I would say, okay, now I want somebody to give me a trade, any trade, unplanned, I don't know what it's going to be, any Forex pair that you choose. And I want you to make it the worst trade possible. Like, think of something. Like maybe the market been going straight up and you want me to sell it, or you want me to buy it at the top, or anything like that. Or it's going down, it's crashing down, and you want me to buy it, or you want me to sell it at the bottom. Give me a trade, unplanned, right now, off the top of your head. And I'm going to live try to, worst case, work my way out of it, or take a very small loss, or maybe even get a profit on it. And people would chime in and they would give me, okay, Mike, do this one. And I would do it totally unplanned. And sometimes it would work out like immediately, but it was really the times when it didn't work out immediately. That's what I was trying to, to show. That was the example I was trying to show. Like, if you stay calm and you use your techniques, your strategies, your process, most of the time with those trades, I would say 90% of the time, I would work out of that with a small profit, worst case, with a teeny tiny loss. So, when I hear people now freaking out because the market had a correction, and I can't take it anymore, I can't handle this, I gotta wait for the perfect moment that only I know when that happens. And by the way, not to pick on anybody, because I've run across these things many, many times, since I've been doing the report, which is now 9 years, okay? Since I've been doing the report, there have been many, many instances like this, or, people that I've run across like this, where it's I can't take it. I can't take it. If you can't take it, buy a CD or put your money in a savings account in a bank. You should not be, that's the primary thing. If you want to be an investor in anything, really, real estate, stocks, commodities, starting a new business, I think the first thing you have to have is a mentality that this might not work out immediately, but I'm going to make a commitment, I'm going to stick it out, and I'm going to figure it out. And it's if you go into something and 3 months later, it's I can't take this, I'm out, I got to wait for the perfect moment, and then I'll get back into it. Just think about that for a second. Think about that mentality. You're just jerking yourself off. That's not realism. That's not realistic. I mean, when I hear that, I'm like, well, that has to be that thread of the way they see things. It has to be a common thread through everything that they do. If you are so like, if something like that, I mean, just crushes you, that you throw up your hands and like, I can't take it anymore. I mean, what is that, man? What is that? Ask yourself, like, what am I doing? Who am I? What am I made of? Like, seriously? That is so upsetting and anxiety provoking. I mean, like I said, I trained myself to see these things. My portfolio, like I said in the last video, I'm almost at a new high in my portfolio for this year. Market's not there, but boom, boom, boom. As it was going down, I had all those orders that were filled. It's wild. I mean, I don't know, man. I think about it and I'm like, am I so different? No. Am I so unusual? No. Like, I came from the same mode of operating, the same mode of behavior as all of you guys. I just kind of like, I realized what I was doing and I turned it around. I worked on it. Anyone could do it. I mean, I keep saying to people that we live in this great country, which is set up, and I know, like, listen, I have empathy for people who are struggling to make ends meet and they have a job and maybe they're fearful that maybe they could get laid off or stuff like that. But if you think about it, and believe me, I have some perspective, freaking bug. I have some perspective because I lived in Europe for 10 years, okay? 10 years, and I was living in a good country. I was living in Switzerland, but it's not like here. It's not like in America. You don't have those kind of opportunities. So it's not like I'm just talking off the top of my head. 10 years I was living in a foreign country. All right? I know the difference. And we have this system set up here. Now, maybe you don't buy into it. Maybe you don't like it. But it is what it is, to use an overused expression. It's the ownership society. You either own a business or you own assets. And the beautiful thing is, a lot of times you can get credit to buy assets. Even if you have a brokerage account, I would say this to my son, like, he's just starting out. Like, the broker lends you 50%. I mean, maybe that's not a lot of leverage like real estate. Banks will lend you, 90, 95%, 97%. I think you could do something first-time home buyer. You think you could go with 3% down. There was a time, I think in 2006, it was 100%. It's a great country. I mean, you got to own stuff. That's the route to wealth. I mean, I always use Warren Buffett as an example. I think he's a great example because, not to take anything away from creators like Musk and Bezos and guys who, and Zuckerberg and guys who actually created new technologies that enhance our lives. That's a fantastic thing. Whether you like these guys or not personally, and I've done my rants against Musk. But I mean, they're creators. But I like to use Buffett because he's in the same business as me. And like, what is he, like the 5th or the 7th richest guy on the Forbes list? With like 150 billion. He created nothing. I mean, that's the essence. That was Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas's character in the first, Gordon Gekko in the first Wall Street movie. I create nothing. I own. And it was written in there by Oliver Stone, who did that movie. That was put in there as like kind of, to attack the system or to to make the system look bad, like you didn't create anything, you own. But yeah, that's how it's set up. That's how it's set up. That's why I like to tell young people, like, start investing. But number one, you gotta have your mentality, your behavior has to be right. And you can't, after 3 months, like the market goes down, I can't take it anymore. The volatility, I just can't take it anymore. I gotta wait for the perfect, absolute perfect time. When is that perfect time? Tell me. It's like when people say to me, why do you do that? It's so hard. And I'm like, show me something that's easy and I'll do it. What's easy? I mean, everything is hard. Everything is hard. I mean, it's like a silly comment. Why you do that? It's hard. Everything is hard. Waking up every day, doing your thing, everything is hard. So, I mean, just accept that and deal with it. And like I always say, reframe it. Like, hard is good. Resistance, growth, Anyway, I don't know, man. That's it for tonight. Bye.